The idea of making professional cinematic videos usually means, well, cameras, lights, maybe a studio.
Yeah.
You definitely have to be okay with being on screen. But what if you could just skip all that beat? We're talking about generating these really realistic, personalized videos of yourself, like a talking avatar, without ever actually recording yourself. And this level of creation, it isn't some far-off future thing. It's accessible, like right now, and mostly for free to start.
Oh, it's absolutely true. And today we're really going to dive deep into the specific workflow from the source material we looked at. It uses this surprisingly powerful three-tool AI stack. So our mission today is basically to unpack that whole five-phase process, yeah, and really focus on the practical stuff you need to master. We got to go beyond just, naming the software. We're looking for that secret sauce for getting consistent prompts, the actual logistics of creating that avatar, and how you genuinely direct the final video output. We're aiming to give you a serious shortcut to making this kind of high-quality content, and efficiently, too.
Okay, sounds good. Let's unpack this setup then. What are the tools that make this whole thing possible?
All right, so the foundation here is these three specific tools. When you chain them together, they seem to work really well. First up, ChatGPT. And the source material is pretty clear. You don't actually need the paid plus plan, the $20 a month one, just to get started.
Yeah, that's super important for accessibility, right? The free version works fine, mainly because we're going to be using these specialized custom GPTs. Think of them like little helpers trained for really specific jobs, like writing these, cinematic image prompts. You really only need that plus subscription later if you find you want faster speeds or maybe access to the absolute newest models, but not essential at the start.
Okay. Tool number 2 is Nano Banana. That's for the image creation part.
Yep, that's kind of the engine room. It's got a great free plan. You can make almost unlimited pictures, which is amazing. And its main strength is how it automatically handles that really tricky technical bit, keeping the face consistent across images.
Yeah.
Facial matching.
Right, that consistency seems crucial. And then tool 3.
Then you move up to the big gun, Google VEO 3. That's for the actual video generation. And what's really interesting here is the kind of financial opportunity built into how things are set up right now. There's a 1-month free trial, which is great for testing. But get this, if you happen to be a student or have a .edu email address for any reason, you can currently get this massive 18-month free deal. Beat. I mean, that's a total game changer for long-term experimentation, right?
That deal alone makes this project seem really worthwhile exploring. But is juggling 3 different tools really worth the hassle compared to maybe finding it all in one generator?
Yeah, I think so, because what you gain is control. And that control starts with a really key setup tip for VEO3. You absolutely must use the flow interface. If you just try and do it in the normal Gemini chat window, you lose all that director-level control over video shape, quality settings, output formats, stuff you really need for professional results.
Okay, so using Flow is like stepping out of the basic chat and into the production suite, basically.
Exactly.
And if we're talking about making the most of that free time, especially if you're on a trial, managing those credits has got to be super important.
Oh, absolutely. Don't just burn through those precious free credits. A huge tip is organization and testing smart. Always start by asking VEO3 for just one video output first. Check the result, see if it's going the right direction, and then iterate. Don't ask for 4 variations right off the bat.
And iterate using the fast mode first, right? That saves a lot of resources.
Totally. Quality mode looks amazing, but it chews through 4 times the credits. Use fast mode. It's about 5 times cheaper. Gives you a test video in under a minute, usually. Use that to quickly check your ideas, your prompts. Only switch over to quality mode when you're ready for the final polished output.
So what's the biggest efficiency gain there, really, from testing in fast first?
It just saves credits, lets you test way more ideas before the final render, maximize that experimentation phase.
Right, maximum testing within the budget. Okay, let's talk about those prompts then, because they seem like the real core of getting the visuals right.
Yeah, this brings us to what really separates, amateur results from professional-looking AI video. It's the quality of the prompt. We're not just having a basic chat with ChatGPT here. We're using a specialized custom GPT, one that's designed specifically for image creation prompts. You can usually find these in the GPT store. Just search for something like Nano Banana prompt or cinematic image prompt.
Ah, okay. So these custom GPTs, they've kind of absorbed the lessons from thousands of successful visual requests. They act almost like a digital storyboard artist for you.
Precisely. They're trained on tons of successful examples, so they just get cinematic description. They understand how to plan a picture that's going to look good once you add motion later. You've got to go way beyond simple stuff like, person in a forest. You need to demand story, detail, mood.
Okay, so give us an example then. How should a listener frame that stronger, more cinematic request?
Well, instead of just the basic description, you'd prompt the custom GPT with the scene's intent. Something like, create a cinematic style prompt for a young financial expert. She's presenting an idea in a modern office setting. The lighting needs to feel professional, making her look trustworthy. And then the GPT will spit back a whole picture plan. It'll include specific light details, maybe soft light flooding in from a large window, camera angle ideas like eye-level shot, medium close-up, even color notes like cool blue and gray tones dominate the palette.
Wow, okay. That level of specificity, you can see how that would drastically improve the visual quality, the fidelity, and just the overall mood of the scene.
Yeah.
But when you use one of these super descriptive prompts, isn't there a risk that the image generator, Nano Banana in this case, just gets, well, too creative and kind of ignores the facial reference photo you give it later?
Yeah, that's the constant battle with AI art, isn't it? That prompt drift. You have to keep refining. It's never quite perfect first time, which is why I also really love this powerful trick for iteration. Once you get a prompt that works reasonably well, ask that same custom GPT to generate, say, 5 different versions of that prompt. Just ask it to change only one thing each time, maybe the location or the time of day or the clothing she's wearing. Doing that lets you rapidly build up a library of related effective prompts. Saves hours of manual tweaking later. Honestly, I still wrestle with prompt drift myself sometimes. It's tricky.
So using the GPT to help debug image errors, yeah, that's crucial, even for me.
That's actually helpful to hear, that even experts hit that wall sometimes. So, okay, let's say Nano Banana keeps making weird visual mistakes, like the eyes look strange consistently or there's some repeating pattern in the background. How exactly does the AI help you debug that? Well, you basically describe that specific visual mistake back to the custom GPT. You tell it, hey, the eyes look weird in the output, or there's this distracting pattern appearing. And the GPT will suggest changes to your prompt to try and fix it. It might say, try adding photorealistic eyes to the main prompt, or add uncluttered background to the negative prompt, or maybe suggest tweaking the lighting description to focus more light clearly on the face. It helps you kind of zero in on what part of the prompt might be causing the error.
I see. So the goal isn't just one perfect prompt, but actually a whole suite of prompts that are carefully engineered to keep that facial consistency, which I guess is the perfect lead-in to actually creating the avatar itself.
Right. So with those well-crafted prompts ready, we move over to Nano Banana. And here, consistency becomes like the absolute #1 priority, doesn't it? If this image is going to become your talking avatar, that initial reference photo is, well, it sounds like it's the most important piece of the whole puzzle. Oh, it dictates everything that comes after. Absolutely. That photo, it needs to be high resolution. You need to be looking straight at the camera. The lighting has got to be good, really even, no harsh shadows, nothing dramatic. And critically, nothing blocking the face. So no hats, no scarves, no big sunglasses. Nano Banana basically studies this one photo intensely to maintain that core facial structure and look across every single image you generate afterwards.
Okay, so once that core identity is kind of locked in from the reference photo, the goal shifts to building out an entire avatar library. Wait, building a full avatar library? That sounds like potentially a lot of upfront work. Is that time investment really worth it compared to just generating images one by one as you need them?
It is so worth it, especially when you get to the editing phase later. Trust me on this. If you only have one single image of your avatar, the final video is going to look really static and frankly kind of boring, like a slightly fancier webcam video, The goal is diversity, but built on that foundation of consistency. Moment of wonder. Whoa. Just imagine scaling this ability, creating a totally consistent, personalized avatar that you can place in dozens, hundreds of different scenes. You build up this collection, your avatar looking straight, looking left, looking right, maybe arms crossed, pointing, different subtle expressions. This visual variety is the absolute key to creating a final video that's engaging and doesn't feel repetitive or, well, robotic.
That makes a lot of sense, actually. We're shifting from just making a still photo to essentially planning shots for a film. And speaking of images that are ready for video, the source had 5 advanced tips. Starting with lighting, you mentioned avoiding dramatic lighting.
Yeah, VEO3, the video tool, it just loves consistency and clarity. So you want prompts that specify soft, even light, or natural daylight. Nothing too moody or high contrast. This really helps ensure that when VEO3 generates the motion, it looks natural. It prevents weird flickering or shadows suddenly jumping around when the avatar starts to move or speak. Even light is crucial for the video output.
Got it. Even light prevents motion artifacts. And what about composition? You mentioned leaving room for movement.
Correct. Don't crop the image too tightly around the face in Nano Banana. VEO3 needs a bit of space, some headroom, and shoulder room to make the avatar's movements look natural. So stick to prompts like medium shot or chest up portrait. Give the AI some canvas to work with.
Okay. And for people making, say, vertical content for social media.
Right. While the standard is 16.9 horizontal video, you can absolutely generate vertical images too. Just add portrait orientation or specify 9.16 aspect ratio in your Nano Banana prompt. Perfect for Reels or TikToks.
Good tip. And the last one was about creating a sequence.
Yeah, if you're aiming for a really polished, professional edit, don't just make one main shot. Create a little set of 3 images using slight variations of your prompt, like a main shot looking straight ahead, then maybe a slightly different angle looking off to the side, and perhaps a close-up for emphasis. These act like building blocks in your video editor later, giving you options for cutting between shots, just like in real filmmaking. It makes the final output much more dynamic.
Okay, so image consistency is the bedrock, the library provides variety, and these tips help make the images truly video ready. Now I guess it's time to actually direct the performance.
Exactly. Now for the really exciting part, where we kind of switch hats from being a painter or photographer to being a director. First thing, though, we have to understand and work with the fundamental constraint of Google VEO3 right now. Clips are limited. They can only be up to 8 seconds long.
Right, 8 seconds. Which means you absolutely have to plan your script differently. You need to break it down into these short, almost punchy 8-second segments, each one needing to contain basically one complete idea, or roughly, 15 to 20 spoken words. It sounds like the planning stage is almost more critical than the rendering itself.
Oh, it totally is. Meticulous planning saves huge amounts of time and credits later. And the VEO3 prompt structure, it's different from the image prompt. It's focused on directing motion, emotion, and sound, not just describing how things look. The basic structure that seems to work pretty well is something like this. Speaking. You put the emotion here in a busa. You specify accent nationality, if needed accent. Then you paste the exact words they are saying.
Okay, so you need specific emotional direction. Not just speaking, but using active verbs like explaining calmly or announcing excitedly or maybe even whispering secretly.
Yeah.
And those words drive the specific facial movements and expressions that VEO3 generates.
That's the idea, exactly. And you need to keep that accent and general tone consistent across all your clips, otherwise it'll sound really jarring when you stitch them together.
Makes sense. So for longer content, you have to master chaining these 8-second clips together. That sounds, well, it sounds like microscripting almost.
It kind of is, yeah.
So what's the challenge there? How do you stop a sequence of these short clips from just feeling like a disjointed slideshow with talking heads?
Right, that's the art of it. You do it by planning the emotional arc of your overall message and, crucially, by using those different avatar poses we generated earlier in Nano Banana. Maybe you start the sequence with the avatar looking thoughtful in a medium shot. Then, as the point gets more exciting, you cut to that side angle shot we created, and maybe you end on the confident, chest-up, straight-to-camera shot for the conclusion. That visual variety helps mask the cuts between the 8-second clips and makes it feel more like a continuous directed piece.
Okay, that makes sense. Using different shots to smooth transitions. But we should probably touch on troubleshooting, because let's be real, these tools aren't flawless yet, right?
Not at all. Still early days in some ways.
What about that common problem people mention, the mouth movements not quite syncing up perfectly with the audio, the lip sync being a bit off?
Yeah, that often happens when there's a mismatch between the emotion you put in the VEO3 text prompt and the expression on the original still image you fed it. So if you give it a picture where the avatar is frowning or looking really serious, but then you ask it to speak enthusiastically or happily, the lip movements can look really unnatural. You got to try and match them. Use a smiling picture if the text prompt is happy.
Okay, match image expression to text emotion. What if the whole video just looks kind of shaky or jittery?
That can sometimes happen if the original Nano Banana image background was too complex or detailed. Try simplifying it. Generate an image with a cleaner, maybe slightly blurred background. Simpler backgrounds often lead to smoother, less artifact-filled video motion from VEO3.
And what if things in the background, like, I don't know, plants on a shelf or a necklace the avatar is wearing start moving weirdly on their own in the final video.
Right, the rogue moving objects.
Yeah.
Yeah, for that, try using VEO3 prompts that really focus the AI's attention on the face and minimize its attempts to animate the background. Things like adding speaking directly to the camera or specifying close-up portrait, shallow depth of field, can sometimes help lock down the background elements.
So fundamentally, what's the most critical difference then between prompting for a still image and prompting for a moving video?
Video prompts focus on directing emotion, motion, and sound, not just describing visuals. It's about performance. #, big idea recap, and real-world application.
Okay, wow. That's a lot to take in, but it feels like a complete process. Let's quickly recap those 5 phases again, just to nail it down. The whole journey from idea to finished video.
Sounds good. Phase 1. Get ready. That's setting up your tools, remembering to use the VEO3 Flow interface, preparing that really good, high-quality reference photo, and getting your project folders organized from the start. Saves headaches later. Phase 2. Create prompts. Use those specialized custom GPTs to write detailed, cinematic, and importantly, emotion-rich descriptions for the images you want.
Phase 3. Create images. Then you hop over to Nano Banana, upload your reference photo, paste in those prompts you just created, and start building out that diverse avatar library, different poses, angles, maybe expressions. Phase 4. Create videos. Upload those finished images into VEO3 Flow. Use the fast mode extensively for testing your 8-second scrub chunks and prompts. Get things right there before using the more expensive quality mode for your final renders.
Exactly. And then finally, phase 5. Edit and finish. Take all those 8-second clips, bring them into a video editor. Free ones like CapCut or DaVinci Resolve work great. Stitch them together in sequence, add maybe some background music, titles, and boom, you've got a cohesive, professional-looking video. And the source material suggests this whole thing, once you're practiced, is potentially doable in like an afternoon.
That's pretty incredible. The real world uses, they feel pretty transformative, don't they? For content creators, obviously this is huge. It completely removes camera shyness, the need for expensive gear or a studio space. Plus, that idea of creating multilingual versions just by changing the text prompt in VEO3, that's potentially massive for reaching global audiences with the same core video.
Oh, yeah. And for businesses, think about it. Quick product demos, consistent professional employee training videos delivered by a familiar avatar, or generating large-scale marketing content variations. You could test hundreds of ad angles in an afternoon because there's no physical production cost or delay. It's almost risk-free A/B testing for video creative.
Totally. And even for personal projects, it just opens up so much flexibility, right?
Yeah.
Unique, personalized birthday messages, keeping up a regular social media presence without the constant pressure of filming yourself. It really feels like a risk-free sandbox to experiment with your presentation style, your personal brand, or testing ideas for your business.
Absolutely. And the key thing that makes all that possible is nailing the consistency of the avatar image first. That unlocks all the creative freedom you have in the video generation stage later. #, outro.
So the big takeaway here feels like this is a skill, it's learnable, and it's available to you like today. The key really seems to be just starting small, maybe with those free tools and trials. Focus on building up that prompt library and really mastering that consistency process, especially with a reference photo and the lighting in your images.
Yeah, exactly. And, the technology itself, it's changing almost daily, it feels like. But the source material really reminded us of something enduring, didn't it? The basic rules of good storytelling, clear communication, and actually creating valuable content for people. Those things always stay the same. Doesn't matter if there's a camera involved or not.
That's a great point. So maybe the final thought for everyone listening is this.
Yeah.
If the camera is no longer the obstacle, what's the story you're finally going to tell?